Okay, so we'll come to the last paper, right? We'll do this and I'll give you all a small break. Okay, right. So we'll quickly do this, easy ones. Central problem of economics is one, establishing a fair tax system, ensuring minimum income for each citizen, allocating scarce resources, satisfy bonds, enacting a set of laws that prevent resources from overuse, producing goods and services without wasting resources. What do you think is the central problem? Quickly, guys. These are easy ones now. We don't have to waste time. Answer is number 3, right? How are you trying to allocate your scarce resources to satisfy your unlimited wants? That is the main problem in economics. Then question number 2, which of the following would cause a outward or rightward shift in the PPC? What do you think? Increase in unemployment, increase in inflation, increase in the capital stock, decrease in natural resources, decrease in the number of workers. What do you all think? Rightward shift, outward shift. Where will the PPC shift outwards? You're looking at a PPC like this. PPC shifting outwards when which of this happens? Ideally, it's answer number 3, right? When the capital stock of the economy increases. We look at the other options. If there is an increase in unemployment, how do we show that? A point inside. This is answer number 1. Increase in inflation, you can't really show that in a PPC, but you can say if there is inflation, the aggregate demand will come down, right? People will not buy, right? And then you can also show that will also lead to like unemployment, something like that if you want, but you can't really show the inflation thing, right? A decrease in natural resources, your factor endowment decreases, leftward shift. Decrease in number of workers, your labor is going down, maybe, sorry, this is number 4, right? Maybe people are migrating or something, your labor is coming down, right? Maybe that is also, again, a leftward shift. So answer number 3 is an increase in capital stock. What is capital stock, guys? Maybe the machines, maybe the buildings, maybe the whatever, right? The capital stock of the country has gone up. What does that mean? The factor endowment, the amount of resources you have has gone up. So now you can produce more goods and services. So meaning your PPC is now shifting to the right. Okay. Is that okay? Fine. 2 is answer number 3. Okay. Done. Then last 2. The production possibility curve can be used to illustrate each of the following with the exception of, that means in a PPC, you can show all of this. One of these you can't show. Think, guys, in your mind, just think you should be able to show. Think. Consumer demand, potential output, economic growth, opportunity cost, unemployment. Which of these can't you show on a PPC? Think. Unemployment you can show on a PPC. How? Point inside, right? So this is not the answer. Opportunity cost you can show on a PPC. You can say, you know, currently you are producing at this point, now you are producing here, so you move from A to B, so you have to sacrifice this amount of goods, right? You can show. Economic growth you can show on a PPC. Rightward shift. PPC will shift right. Can show. Potential output is the PPC itself, right? The PPC of a country shows what, guys? The PPC of a country shows the potential output of that country, right? The maximum output that the country can produce, maximum sustainable output the country can produce by using all of its resources. You can show potential output. The PPC itself shows the potential output, right? So then consumer demand, no, right? How do you show demand on a PPC? You can show demand on a law of demand curve, right? You can say price and quantity demand, and you can show demand like that. But you can't show demand on a PPC. Yeah, so that becomes your answer. Can you show properly opportunity cost? Guys, I'm not going into that detail showing opportunity cost on a PPC. That we'll look into it when we come to essay question, right? If essay question comes. Okay, right. That is also done. Okay. Last MCQ, and then we are done with the MCQs, right? Which of the following characterizes the social market economy? What do you all think is a characteristic? Easy one, guys. Remember, I taught you all social market economy. Opportunity cost is not a demand, right? No, opportunity cost doesn't show demand, guys. Opportunity cost is showing us what you have to sacrifice, right? Which one do you think is a characteristic of a social market economy? Remember, okay, what is a social market economy? What is a social market economy? A social market economy is where, right, very similar to a market economy, but what happens? Government will intervene to promote social welfare, no, or social justice. Government will intervene and do what? They will provide, let's say, pensions. They will provide samurdhi benefits. They will charge taxes and give it to the poor, right? They will provide unemployment benefits. They'll protect the human rights, right? That is what you call social market, no? It's a very similar to a market economy. Remember, we did this last class, right? What is a social market economy? An economy that is similar to a market economy, right? But government will intervene to do what? Government will intervene to promote social justice, right? Yes. One more thing, right? If we have discussed something in the previous class, I will not discuss that again, right? Because that takes a lot of time again, guys. So your duty is to make sure that you stay updated, right? Don't just come to the class and on your Zoom and look at the screen and wait, right? So your part, right, is once we do a section, go through that section again, because next time if the same question comes, I will not explain that question again and again. Okay, so please have that in mind, right? So we'll just see, guys. Yes, I gave you all Sweden as an example. Yes, private ownership of all resources. Okay, think now. Social market economy is something. It's a mixed economy, right? It's a category of a mixed economy. Can you say there is private ownership of all resources? Can you say that? Can you say all the resources? Now, for example, even Sri Lanka is similar to a social market. No, right? Not private. Everything is not privately owned. Can you say public ownership of all resources? Can you say the government owns everything? No, right? You can't say government owns everything. Can you say there is an absence of a regulatory framework for the functioning of price system? Can you say that in Sri Lanka there is no price mechanism? Again, no, right? There is no, there is a framework, right? So come on, there is demand and supply. Based on that, the price of a good is determined. So you can't say number 3 as well. Then strong state role in the provision of welfare services. So the government is highly concerned in providing welfare services. Can you say that in a social market, there is a strong state role to provide this? You right. So government will intervene and they will promote welfare services. So for example, they will provide unemployment benefits. They will provide pensions like for Sri Lankan people. They might provide samurdhi benefits for poor people. Now samurdhi is a Sri Lankan term, right? But you can do that, right? Use centralized planning. Now remember, what did I say? I said a social market economy is very similar to a market economy, but government will intervene for this social welfare. So can you say they right? What do they use to solve the basic economic question? They use price mechanism, right? Price mechanism is used to solve the basic economic problems, because this is very similar to what? Very similar to a market economy, but government will intervene. Is that okay? Fine. Step. Okay. Right. So that brings us to the end of all the MCQs, right? Can you all just mark and see, guys, all those who did, right? How much did you all get out of, I don't know how many were there in total. Just, I'll give you all like a couple of minutes. Just, if you have a printout or if you have written or something, right? Say how many questions are there in total and how much did you all get right. Just do a small calculation and addition or something and see. 15 out of 60. No, I mean, like, let's say entire unit number 1. From the first day, now you have done it for 3 classes. Okay, so I think, okay, today we had 16 MCQs, fine. The first 2 classes, add all of that together and see how much do you all get. What's the number? And also, guys, so until you all calculate, right? So I know there are a few people watching on YouTube, right? So for those watching on YouTube, guys, this class is currently being held in March 2023, right? So it would go for around another 6 months, 5 to 6 months. So maybe if you're watching that somewhere in between March to, let's say, somewhere around August or September 2023, you can join the live class, right? So I think the link will be there on the YouTube description. So you can click that, register. I will most likely add you all to a WhatsApp group. So you all can join the live classes well, right? And then guys, also maybe if you're watching it on YouTube, right, do like the video or drop a comment, right? I do this as a complete social service kind of thing, CSR, right? I know your small comment can mean a lot to me. Right, others pieces of a social market economy are owned by the private sector, but government will highly influence use. Yes, resources are owned by the private sector, but government will highly influence. Correct. Doesn't that mean resources are owned by the private sector? Yeah, so resources are owned by the private sector, but you can't say all resources are owned, right? So private ownership, fine, but there can be resources owned by the government also, no? This word all here is the one that is misleading. So all resources is the one. Right, so total 61 questions or 67 questions. Some people are saying 67, some people are saying 61. Did you all miss out anything? Like some fellow, okay, so I think there are 67 or 61, I don't know. So I think anything above 50 is a good mark, right? Right, anything above 50 is good. Maybe anything above 60 or more is very, very good, right? This is like the first time that you all are doing it now. Okay, so anything above 50 is good. 60 and above, perfect, right? So go through the questions. Do you all realize that the same question gets repeated over and over again? Do you all get some sort of a confidence? Yes, after we do around 10 years of papers, when we come to the last paper, do you see that this was asked before, same thing is coming now. Now that is what has to come, guys, because if you all feel that, that itself automatically gives you confidence and it makes it easier for you to actually do the paper, right? So shall we take a quick break and then come into the essay questions? So in the essay questions, guys, I'll give you all what kind of a format you all should write, how much points you all should write, right? No, we'll talk about all of that, right? So we'll take a break till around 6:15, right? You all have around 8 minutes. You can take a break and come. We'll try to do until 2013 for today.